Hello, friends, and welcome. I am Heather Tesco, writer, podcaster, all around online entrepreneur, and I am here to share with you today 6 ways that writers can monetize their words, 6 non-traditional creative ways that writers can monetize their words. So grab a pen, turn off your distractions and notifications, and let's get right into it, okay? I'm going to share my screen. Here we are. 6 ways for authors to monetize beyond traditional publishing. I'm Heather. Like I just said, I help writers and creatives find creative monetization tricks to tap into the wealth of words. Why am I here? Why are you here? Why are we all here? This is existential. No. So I make this material, this masterclass, available without an email lock. You didn't have to put in your email address to watch this. It's freely available to everybody. And it's because in 2001, I sat in an internet cafe in London. I was living in London at the time, and I Googled how to be a writer. I spent the next 15 years experimenting, trying things out, seeing what worked until I finally started to hit on some things that were working for me in 2016. And I built that up, built a business out of my passion for Tudor history and for writing about Tudor history. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But now, after 20 years of trying things out, throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, and then about 7 years of actually having stuff stick, seeing what worked, perfecting, I now have a calling to save other writers and creatives from making the same mistakes that I did, from having the same frustrations that I had, and from all around having the same, just kind of falling into the same pitfalls that I fell into. So that's why I make this available without an email lock. I talk about this stuff lots of different places. This is me in 2019, I think, 2018, 2019, talking at the Tribe Conference with Jeff Goins about creative monetization for writers. This is something I'm passionate about, and that's why I'm here. That's why I make this available. So a quote that sticks with me is this Maya Angelou quote: "There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you." And we have some ideas in, just kind of, there's some general beliefs that we've all sort of bought into, that society has bought into, about how you make money through writing, how you make a living through writing, how you make a career out of writing. And I want to debunk some of those myths and show you some creative ways that you can do it that are really outside the box, that aren't ways that we generally think of when we think of writing. Because I want for you to be able to get your story out. I got my story out, and I know that agony of having an untold story inside of you. I was lucky enough to be able to find what worked and get my story out. I want for you to be able to get your story out too. And it doesn't have to look the way that we think it is supposed to look. It doesn't have to look like, sitting in an apartment in Paris, like Hemingway, putting out 2 books a year. It can look lots of different ways. And I'm here to share 6 of those ways with you. So that's where we are. The world is but a canvas to our imagination. It's a Thoreau quote that really sticks with me, and that I would like to just kind of put here to presence why we're here, what we're talking about, and really encourage you to put on your imagination hat if you have one, and really think outside the box as I'm talking. See what inspires you. See what, what kind of comes to your mind as you're listening to what I'm talking about, as you're thinking about these things, and, write it down, and just don't be limited. There's all kinds of ways. What this masterclass is about. So when we think about making a career out of writing, like I said, we think about these sort of traditional paths of writing books and selling articles. But I'm here to tell you there are other ways. In this webinar masterclass, we're going to talk about 6 ways you can make money as a writer, ranging from side hustles to full-time income. So grab a pen, turn off your notifications, turn off your distractions. It's not that long. Just give me 15, 20 minutes, and we're going to go through some of these things. And hopefully you will be inspired, and you'll start thinking of ways for yourself, these outside the box ways where you can grow your writing, grow your audience, and grow your profits. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about the Fortuna Writes Mastermind that I have started for writers to receive training and support and guidance as they embark on these new paths. But I'm not going to tell you too much about it because I really want this to be content heavy for you. So that's what we've got going on. That's how it's going to go. It's going to be about 15, 20 minutes. Who am I? You probably do not know who I am, and that's okay. So I'm Heather. I've been creating content online since 1998 when I built my first history reference website. I'm passionate about history. That history reference website, side note, hit #1 on Yahoo back when hitting #1 on Yahoo was a thing. It was pre-Google days. I've been podcasting since 2009. There I have a screenshot of my reviews on iTunes, just so you can see I'm legit. I've been writing and publishing books since 2016. My show was Podcast Magazine's History Podcast of the Month for 2021, September 2021. I've turned my passion for history into a business that includes online events, in-person events, books, merch, and the world's first ever TutorCon. So that business became a 6-figure business. And now I'm turning all of that experience, like I said, into teaching other writers and creatives how to tap into their own skills to build thriving lives outside of the route of traditional publishing. What I do and don't teach. So, like I said, it says reach. I teach. That's a typo. I teach writers and creatives ways to monetize beyond their traditional paths. I'm not promising that you're going to make $1 million. I'm 100% not promising that you're going to sell 1 million copies of your book. I am promising that I will open your mind to new paths towards monetization and audience building beyond the traditional write and publish model. I teach writers how to tap into their creativity, find new avenues to create wealth and profits. That's me. I just put this in here. This was the Podcast Magazine September 2021 Podcast of the Month feature, History Podcast of the Month feature. They call me an OG podcaster, podcasting OG. I like it. I should put that in my Twitter bio. Anyway, so in this webinar, we're going to talk about 6 ways, like I said, you can earn money beyond traditional publishing. But because I like irony, I have a book on that. So I did write a book. It's called Fortuna Writes. And it's all about these ways and digging deeper into them. And Fortuna is the Roman goddess of luck. She watches over harvests, anything that requires luck. And I really liked the idea of a Roman goddess watching over my writing. And I really like to base the community and mastermind that I'm building around that as well. So Fortuna Writes, you can check it out on Amazon and dig deeper. So why is all of this important? We're going to do some math. If you self-publish your book for $3.99 on Amazon, which is the average price of an ebook on Amazon, a self-published ebook, you will get $2.79 per copy royalty. The average self-published ebook only sells 250 copies in its lifetime. So I know so many writers who say, well, when I publish my book, it's all going to change. Or, I'll actually start making money when I publish my book. Truth bomb, you're not. That's like when it starts, and that is a way, but you're not making enough to live on. Even if you wrote a book that did that good every quarter, you're still not making minimum wage. So you have to diversify. You have to have other income streams. You have to have other ways to make money besides just relying on your book. And that's where I come in. People aren't teaching this really. So, I've done the courses. I love the courses. I've done lots of courses on building an audience and on starting your blog and all of the different things that are out there, right? They largely focus on the nuts and bolts of setting up your blog, setting up your WordPress site, building your audience. But very, very little time is spent on actually making money from your blog, on actually making money from your writing. It might be one module in a 6-module course. The reason is that it's very tricky. It's different for everybody. It's not one size fits all. It doesn't fit well into this kind of like course on how to set up and get a blog going. It's the next step. And really, monetization deserves its own course. Hi, I'm here. So that's why I'm here, because I've done this stuff. I've experimented. I've had success. I've had failures. I've seen what works. Monetization really deserves its own course, its own community, its own masterminds. Here are the 6 ways that we're going to talk about today. The 6 creative monetization methods. We're going to talk about courses. We're going to talk about merch, ads, newsletters, events, and sponsored content. Courses, merch, ads, newsletters, events, sponsored content. Courses. Teach what you know. You can set up a free account on Thinkific or on Teachable and teach what you write about. If you write historical fiction, for example, you can teach courses on the periods in history that you write about. You've probably done a ton of research on those periods, right? So you can do courses on them. You can, if you write books about photography, you can actually teach photography. Like, you can teach the stuff that you're writing about. Even best-selling authors like Margaret Atwood are doing this. You've probably seen ads for Margaret Atwood. She does a masterclass on how to write. This is a woman who's best-selling, Booker Prize winning, every kind of prize winning, Hulu series inspiring. She does courses on Masterclass. She's not doing them out of the goodness of her heart. She's doing them she probably loves to do them too. I'm not going to speak for Margaret Atwood, but she does get paid for them, right? So even best-selling authors are doing courses. There's another author called John Assaraf who teaches mindset tricks and entrepreneurial skills. I love him. He's great. He does courses. He's got 3 best-selling books, and he also does courses. I would also say that this also includes consulting. If you know enough about a subject to be able to write regularly about that subject, there are other ways to share that knowledge. There's so many ways for you to be able to teach and consult on what you already know. Thinkific, super easy. Teachable, super easy. It's free to set up, and you can start teaching right away. Merch. So there's a difference between setting up on, say, Redbubble and putting your artwork on Redbubble and actually setting up a Shopify store and then integrating a print-on-demand vendor with it. And I don't want to get too in the weeds about it, because I actually have a course on how to set up Shopify and why that's better than going with like a Redbubble model. But the main reason is, with Redbubble, you're just putting artwork up on designs and they're doing all of the sales. So you don't get much information about your audience. You don't get email addresses. You don't get a lot of, you also don't make much money off of it. Your commission's pretty small, unless you're a huge store. But if you set up on Shopify, you own your platform, you can collect email addresses, and then you integrate a print-on-demand vendor like Printful or Guten are 2 that you can use. And you can create notebooks and t-shirts and hoodies and scarves, anything. And why this might be great for writers. You might be like, well, Heather, I don't want to sell merch. I'm a writer. Maybe you have a character who wears a specific hat, right? You can put that hat in your shop and sell that, something similar, right? And then that's a way for your readers to connect deeply with your story, with your characters. Just look at like how many people wear Harry Potter t-shirts. How many people are walking around with t-shirts of their favorite books and authors? A lot. And you can be part of that. And you can create merch that ties in beautifully. You can create prints. Say you have a setting for one of your books that's like this beautiful, coast in Cornwall or something. You can create artwork. You can have someone on Fiverr create that artwork for you if you're not an artist, that is inspired by, the setting of your book. And then you can sell those prints. And again, then people have a piece of the story in their house. And it's a very deep connection that you can create through merch. So I'm a big fan of merch. Like I said, I actually have a course on that, which is included in the Fortuna Writes Mastermind. If you would join that, you get that course on Shopify included, how to set up a shop and how to set up your merch store. So personally, I love merch. Like I just said, this was my merch shop. This is what I made. So this is like proof that this stuff will work. I have a shop. Well, I actually just shut it down this year because I wanted to focus on coaching, but you can go check it out still if you want inspiration. Tutorfair.com, tutorfair.com. And you can see, what kind of stuff I sold. And this is what you can do with a merch shop. And that wasn't a full-time job, right? That was a part-time job. I love merch. Love it. You can also set up an account with Google AdSense and start serving Google ads on your blog or your website. So now, look, I'm going to be super honest. You're not going to pay the rent with this unless you get huge. I mean, like huge websites pay the rent with it, but the average, that's like the top 0.01% that do. However, you set up ads, it's a super easy income stream, a little bit additional that comes in every month. Maybe you get to the point where it's a couple $100s, and that's nothing to sneeze at. So, for a passive income, it can be really good. And you can set controls over what kind of ads you're showing. You might not want to show ads from competitors, things like that. You can go in and do all of that with your Google AdSense account. That's a really easy way to create profits. It doesn't take a lot of effort. Newsletters are a way that I'm just starting to explore, actually, but I've seen other authors doing it and it can be really successful. So Substack is a new platform. You've probably heard about it. You set up an account on Substack. They make it really easy to create newsletters for subscribers. So people can subscribe to your Substack. You can have a free version and then a premium version. You can charge like $5 a month, $10 a month. And for that, people get extra content, premium content. So they might get extra newsletters. They might get like a monthly hangout on Zoom with you. They might get, a signed copy of your book or whatever it is that you might have. Maybe if you have a course, they might get the course. See, it all ties together. The real beauty is when you have several of these going at once and you can work them all together and tie them all together, right? So if you did have a merch shop, for example, your subscribers on Substack could get a discount code to your merch shop. When you can get multiple streams like that and have them working for you in different ways, it's beautiful. So you can set up an account on Substack, start building subscribers, have a free newsletter to start with as you're building up your subscribers, and then you can launch a paid newsletter, give them special deals and perks if they join your paid newsletter list. A great one to check out is best-selling author Jeff Goins just started a Substack. So it's kind of cool to watch him as he's just building it. I think he launched it earlier this year, depending on when you watch this, early 2023. And it's really neat to see how it's growing. Events, something else I love, events. You can put together live events or online events to bring your fans together and share your passions for your subject. So let's say, again, you write about historical fiction, you write historical fiction. You can put together events based around that time period in history, which is what I did with Tudor history. You can check out in-person conferences like Podcast Movement, which is an event built around people who are passionate about podcasting, or Blogger, which is an event around women bloggers that's been going on forever and ever and ever. It was one of the earliest ones. This is a great way to connect with people, your existing readers, as well as new readers who are going to find you because of the event, and then they will become your readers after the event. So it's easy enough to start off with an online conference. Zoom makes it super easy to get that started. Again, in the Fortuna Writes Mastermind, I have a course on how to put together an online summit, online event. They're not complicated. And then you can charge people for a premium version of it, for like the VIP experience, which might include extra time with the speakers, maybe copies of books, things like that. And then you market that, and boom, you've got a community while you're also building an event. It helps build authority in your field. People start to see you as one of the leaders in that field. It's an awesome, awesome thing to do. I love events. I started the first TutorCon in 2019, but I did my very first online summit around Tudor history in 2017. So I've been doing this for a while as well, and I'm a big fan. Sponsored content is another thing. It's similar to ads, but it's different. So with Google Ads, for example, you're just going to have ads fed to your site. You get some control over it, but it's just a pool of ads that go onto your website. With sponsored content, you're going to go out to brands and you're going to say, hey, I love your brand. I would like to write a blog post about your brand. You can pay me $500 to do that. And in that case, you're going to create deeper content. It's going to be work to create the content, but you're going to get paid a lot more. And this is something that we often think of with like Instagram influencers and people like that. where they get paid, however much for a post to their followers. But you can also do it with writing. You can do it with blogs, with your blog. You can do it in a lot of different areas if you create YouTube videos. And again, if you create content in multiple different avenues, you can approach a brand and say, look, I'll write the blog post about it. I'll also do the YouTube video and I'll post about it on Instagram. And together it will reach, a lot more people. So that's how you can model like a sponsored content sort of deal. It's more work to put together than just having ads fed to your site, but you have a lot more control over it and you get paid a lot more money. So that's sponsored content. Okay, but Heather, I know how to write. I don't know how to make merch. I get it. I get it. But don't let the fact that you don't know how to achieve something keep you from trying. There's so many resources available, like my mastermind. There's YouTube videos. Again, there's a typo. Videos. There's books. There's so many resources. So once you commit to something and once you say, okay, I'm going to give this a try, the resources will find you. They're available. It's not like you can find out anything. I didn't know how to put together a shop either when I started. I've never built an online shop. I didn't know what I was doing. You try and you make mistakes and you see what works. And, eventually you figure it out, or you don't and you move on to the next thing. But don't be stopped because you don't know how to do this. Like none of us know how to, when you're a baby, you don't know how to walk, right? And then you learn. So just because you don't know how to do something, that shouldn't be a reason for you not trying. There's lots of resources available. You can learn this. You're a smart person. You're a creative person. You're a writer. You can learn, right? I have full faith in that. Let's move on. The one thing I will say is that having the audience is what makes all of this possible. So you want to invest in building your audience. The beautiful thing is that many of these different ways actually will build your audience as you're creating them and making the money. So I built my audience through a planner. At the end of 2016 was kind of my first successful product that I made. And it's a planner that's based around Tudor history. And I started selling that because I wanted one basically. And I started doing ads for the planner and people found me who hadn't listened to my podcast. So suddenly in a span of a month, because I was selling these planners, my mailing list grew 3 times the size. My podcast listenership went way up. My Facebook page went way up because people were buying my planner. And even if they didn't buy my planner, they heard about me and started listening to my show, or they signed up for my mailing list. So the beauty of all of these different ways is you're growing your audience while you're doing them. So some things might not be hugely successful financially, but you've grown your mailing list 4 times the size. Or, suddenly your blog stats have just gone through the roof because people are learning about what it is you're offering. That's one thing that I think was key for me, was realizing that until I had something to sell, I didn't really have a reason to go out talking to people and to be doing ads and to be really introducing myself to a lot of people. I was just kind of in my room writing, or in my house writing. And it was once I actually had things to start selling that it gave me a reason to go out talking more and to go out doing ads more and to start, doing partnerships with other podcasters and things like that, because I had a thing that I was selling. Until you have a thing, it's kind of nebulous, right? So investing in your audience, super important, creating the content, putting the stuff out there. But a lot of times it's having something to sell. It's having something out there that you're promoting that's going to build your audience just as much. So that, I think, is a pretty key concept that when it hit me, it was just like a light bulb went off. Super important. So again, if this seems overwhelming, there's resources. There's my book, The Fortuna Writes Mastermind. I'm not going to get into too much detail about Fortuna Writes Mastermind right now, because I really wanted this to be content heavy. However, there's a box below where you can put your email address. I didn't put this video behind an email block, like I said, because I really want to make it available for everybody. But if you're interested in joining my mailing list and learning more about what I do, please just put your email address in there and I'll send you information about, where you can find out more about me, where you can get the book. It's on Amazon, joining the mastermind, all of that stuff. I will say that what's in the mastermind is we have almost a dozen courses right now that you get immediate access to. Things like creating an online summit, things like creating a Shopify account, Instagram training, podcast bootcamp, which is a 4-module course on creating a podcast. Like I said, we've got a flagship course on setting up a merch shop on Shopify. We've got a flagship course on podcast, we've got self-publishing, and we add a new one at least every quarter. So at least 4 new ones a year we add to the Fortuna Writes Mastermind. It has answers to problems that so many independent writers and artists face, everything from how to build an audience to how to actually monetize that audience. And there's a growing community of people, of writers who are all experiencing the same questions, having their own successes, having their own insights. So you can see what's worked for them and get advice from your other folks that are in the community. So I think it's great. And I will also say that I have priced it ridiculously reasonable. It's kind of a no-brainer if you want to explore other ways of monetizing beyond traditional publishing. I've priced it really, really inexpensively because I want people to have this information. So enter your email address below and I will send you the information on that. Want to learn more? heathertesco.com. You're here right now. Sign up for my mailing list, get weekly content, tips, information that will help you grow your wordsmithing business. And you'll learn about the Fortuna Writes Mastermind. Like I said, honestly, it's so amazing. I'm so excited about it. And I'm so excited to just dump all of this information that 20 years of experimenting and learning has led me to this. And I have really made it very accessible because I want so many people to be able to have it. So it's one of the best deals you will find. So, or you can check out also the free Facebook group, the Fortuna Writes free Facebook group as well, which is also brand new and growing. So I'm excited to see you in there. Now, this is the part where I say thank you. Thank you for watching. Look, I know your time is valuable. Time is the one thing in life that we can't ever get back. You can make more money. You can, make more stuff. You can't ever get your time back. So I appreciate you taking this time. I hope that it's been valuable for you. I hope that I see you in one of my communities, one of my masterminds. But even if I don't, I wish you all the success with your creative dreams. Your dreams chose you and came to you, and you owe it to them to do everything you can to make them a reality. So there was this little dream and it came to you and your head. And if you don't work on it, it's not going to get done. So you owe it to that sweet little dream that entered your head to make that happen. You owe it to yourself to get your story out there. And there's so many ways that you can do that. So I hope that this has been valuable. Thank you for watching this far. And I will see you in one of my communities or hopefully my mastermind. All right, take care and let me know what you create. Let me know what you do. I really want to know. All right, to your creative success. Bye.